Hello, everybody, and welcome to What the Hell Should I Watch? I'm Steve Stebbing.
And I'm Chloe Stebbing.
And we are the weekly rundown of what we're watching, which may become what you're watching. And we come at you every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific on stevestebbing.ca. And I warned you last week that I had like a weird lean week, and I kind of do streamable stuff as well as a bunch of catch up and putting a couple shows to bed as well. So let's go skip straight to it. This is what you can stream right now. Yes, might as well get it over with. The film that last week I said that nobody's watching, that I'm the only one watching it. You know what? I forgot that it was Mother's Day weekend, so probably did a lot better than I thought. This movie is called Nonnas.
After losing his beloved mother, a man risks everything to honor her by opening an Italian restaurant with actual grandmothers as the chefs. Starring Vince Vaughn, Lorraine Bracco, Talia Shire, Brenda Vaccaro, Linda Cardellini, and Susan Sarandon. Directed by Stephen Chbosky. Available on Netflix.
So this one is a movie that first has to be passable based on Vince Vaughn's brand of charm. This is a non-abrasive Vince Vaughn charming. This is all well-rounded edges, like good guy Vince Vaughn. This one's actually based on a true story. It's inspired by the life of a man named Jody Scaravella, who really did open an island. Really did open. He
don't
opened
be opening
an
any
island. Jurassic Park. He is John Hammond. Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Nonnas.
Alan.
I quote that all the time. I just say Alan.
And
I just laugh. It's so funny.
Is that why that movie's your favorite?
Yes.
Just that one scene. Alan?
That scene just lives in my subconscious 24/7.
With a quizzical look, too. Alan?
Oh, God.
Where was I?
Italian grandmas.
Oh, yes, Italian grandmas. So, yeah, Jody Scaravella, real guy, opened up a restaurant in Staten Island that the chefs were all Nonnas, were all grandmas. So this one is obviously the glossy Hollywood version. It's super manipulative. Like, it knows when to play the music, when to play the heartstrings. It's almost paint by numbers in that sort of degree. There's obviously a lot of embellishment. There's stuff that's way too Hollywood comedy drama template to suggest that those scenes actually happened. But also at the same time, like, it feels like I don't see Lorraine Bracco enough. Did you ever watch Sopranos?
No.
Okay. She's Dr. Melfi. She's Tony Soprano's psychiatrist in that. It's like a main plot point to the show. But she was also in Goodfellas. She's Ray Liotta's wife in Goodfellas. And Talia Shire was Adrian in Rocky's girlfriend.
Okay. Yeah.
She was also in The Godfather. She's a relative of the Coppola umbrella, which also includes Nicolas Cage. Talia Shire is actually Jason Schwartzman's mom.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Yeah. Brenda Vaccaro, I feel like I've seen in a lot of stuff for years. She may or may not have been nominated for an Academy Award at one point. I'm hazy on that one. And Susan Sarandon is Susan Sarandon. She's great. I didn't realize she's Italian.
No, I didn't either.
That's a new one for me. But the Stephen Chbosky, he's known for doing these kind of sappy movies. The closest he's done to one that I think is an earned sappiness, at least, is the film Perks of a Wallflower, which I dig that film. I thought it was well done. I like Logan Lerman a lot. Paul Rudd is in that one. Emma Watson. He was also in the Jacob Tremblay film Wonder, which is about the film about the kid with the facial deformity.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to say his parents are Julia Roberts and Owen Wilson.
I think so.
I think that's
Owen
parents.
Wilson sounds right.
Yeah, pretty sure it's Julia Roberts. I haven't actually seen the film, but a film of his I have seen. This might have been during COVID too, and I was pissed. I hated this movie. He did Dear Evan Hansen, and I despise that movie. It's Ben Platt being a 30-year-old high schooler, and it was awful. And it was a musical, and I wanted to punch the world after that movie. It was terrible, terrible film. Stephen Chbosky can suck it for that film. That was terrible. It was so bad. The film was shot by Florian Ballhaus, who shot the Bruce Willis action film Red with Helen Mirren and John Malkovich. It was based on a comic book by Warren Ellis. You're going to love this one. Florian also shot Allegiant and Insurgent.
Oh my God.
The films that just keep giving.
Can't escape them.
Especially to this podcast. It just always comes back. Television, he did She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, which is a show that I always felt like I was defending. I enjoyed that show. I thought it was fun. It was goofy. It felt made in the feminine gaze, and I enjoyed that about it as well. But in that vein, he also shot episodes of Sex and the City. So
interesting.
The score was done by Marcelo Zarvos, who did the recent thriller The Front Room, which we both enjoyed to varying degrees.
For different reasons, I feel.
Yes. He did the Jesse Eisenberg film American Ultra with Kristen Stewart. He also did the Cary Fukunaga film Sin Nombre, which is the first film I ever saw by him, and I was just blown away by it. Just an incredible Spanish language film. Also, the Robert Pattinson film Remember Me.
Oh, I liked that movie.
The twist gets brought up a lot still. You know the twist. You remember the twist.
I actually barely remember that movie. It was like right after Twilight that movie came out.
Mm-hmm. It was capitalizing on it. It was for Summit Entertainment, I'm pretty sure, as well.
I just remember being a young teenager and really liking that movie.
Yeah. The twist was he was in the World Trade Center.
Oh, yeah. Why? Oh, yeah, it's a 9/11 movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just for a reminder of what the twist was in that movie, in case you were going to rewatch it. Recently, he also did the score for the miniseries Good American Family, which is a really creepy.
Yeah, I've been meaning to watch that one, actually.
Yeah, it's a weird story. Like I said, it reminded me of Orphan right away.
Yeah, well, because Orphan's also based on a true story. I think the same one.
I haven't seen the sequel. Might be the same one. No.
This
one is a little more recent.
Yeah. Same concept, though.
Same concept, though, yeah. He also did The Affair and Ray Donovan, which are both pretty huge Showtime shows. The now closed world-famous restaurant Spiritos, which is located in Elizabeth, New Jersey, was used as a location for the restaurant in Nonnas. They actually include that restaurant's kind of history in the film by showing the logo pretty prominently in the film too. So this film was made with a lot of love. Sure, it'll be received that way. I'm sure it was received that way. I know Netflix loves to bring out his numbers as much as you can believe some of the conflated numbers, like saying that like the Electric State did like millions and millions of streams.
Okay.
It's like stuff like that, but like I Nonnas isn't going to be a blockbuster Netflix release, but I think it's definitely going to find its market and it'll satisfy that market for sure, easily. A movie that definitely has a niche market of its own. Ever since I saw the trailer for this one, I was waiting for it to get some kind of streaming deal because it looked just trippy as hell. Flying Lotus is a weird dude. This one is called Ash.
A woman wakes up on a distant planet and finds the crew of her space station vicious, starring Eiza González, Aaron Paul, Iko Uwais, Kate Elliott, Beulah Cole, and Flying Lotus. Directed by Flying Lotus, available on Prime Video.
Need for Speed. Yeah, I don't know. A movie I never cared about, so there's some stuff he does is good. I'm also coming off of seeing him in Westworld, which his entire character addition really added character, but it never took. They just ended her up with James Marsden anyway. So it's like they went back to the fan favorite anyway. So who cares? Okay. But I don't know. I feel Ash is going to find its own niche market. that Shudder crowd is going to pick up on it. I'm surprised it's not, because Prime owns Shudder. I'm surprised that Ash isn't a Shudder release. Maybe it has to do with the releasing. I'm trying to remember if maybe it was Neon. I'm not sure. I do have a Neon movie upcoming, because as we've said many times on this show, Neon is like one of the new favorites at this point.
Yeah, they've replaced A24 for
A24.
me.
Is this been the consistency, right?
Yeah, it's just banger after banger. So
Yeah, exactly. This is Flying Lotus' second film. He did a film called Kuzo, which is like a hybrid, like animated, weird ass film. Hannibal Buress is in it, a bunch of other people. But he also directed a segment for one of the VHS films. For a VHS 99, he did Ozzy's Dungeon, was the story he did in that one.
oh yeah, that one was good.
So
They're all good though. I like them all really. So,
but he's a trip. He's an absolute trip. He loves the visual stuff. He's also really good score wise, because he did the music for this one. He did a Netflix show called Yasuke. He does the score for that. And he does the score for a long running show called The Boondocks. Yeah, he did all the music for that.
interesting.
Was Flying Lotus. The film was shot by Richard Block, who did What We Do in the Shadows. He did the film.
Okay.
And
The British one?
New
The
Zealand.
British New Zealand.
New Zealand. It was a New
Sorry.
Zealand film. Taika Waititi and Jermaine Clement created that one. He also did a New Zealand horror film called Black Sheep. I don't know if you've seen that one, about were sheep.
I haven't seen a lot of New Zealand things. I've seen a lot of Australian things.
Oh yeah, and Australian horror is fantastic. I love it. But New Zealand stuff, going back to the beginning, you're talking Peter Jackson and like Bad Taste or Meet the Feebles or Dead Alive, which is also known as Brain Dead. That's probably the one you should start with.
Okay. Yeah, see, like I haven't heard of any of these. I guess I've just been super ignorant to New Zealand film for some reason.
You should watch on Shudder. You should watch the anthology films In Search of Darkness.
Okay, I love anthologies, so.
It's just film after film, starting 1980, between all three films, going all the way to 1990. Every horror film, like a talking head thing about like they have a good, well-rounded panel of people talking about it. And it was produced by Slipknot's Corey Taylor, who's a huge horror fan.
Well, Slipknot.
So, yeah, exactly.
You know.
But definite must watches. And we've had the director, David Weiner, we had him on Tremble, the horror show that I should actually plug more at the end of this show. I'll add it next week. The film was originally actually supposed, instead of Eiza González and Aaron Paul, it was supposed to be Tessa Thompson and Joseph Gordon-Levitt was originally cast. Which I would have watched that movie too. I enjoy both those actors as well. You know who Tessa Thompson is, right?
Maybe. Vaguely.
She's in the Creed movies. She's the deaf girlfriend. She's in the Thor movies. She's Valkyrie.
Okay, yeah.
She's really good. And she's in an amazing film called Sorry to Bother You, which is must see.
Is that the one?
Lakeith Stanfield, he goes to work for
like a call center?
Yeah, a telemarketer thing, but he has to use his white voice.
Yeah, I freaking love that movie.
Yes!
Yeah.
Yes, I'm so proud of you in this moment. That movie never goes where you think it's going to go.
No.
It's the most unpredictable movie, especially when it gets near the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And
I love that one. Yeah.
That movie's incredible. But yeah, Tessa Thompson's in that movie and she's really great in that film. But yeah, if you're a horror person, check it out. Let's move on to some more horror. And this one actually is on Shudder. They were smart about this. Shudder was actually one of the producers of this one. And this one definitely plays in the parody meta sandbox. It's called Bloody Axe Wound.
Abby Bladecut's family business, a video store, has thrived by disposing of teenagers to mimic horror movies. As the first female slasher, she battles gender bias while realizing the harsh realities behind the mass murderers. Starring Sari Arambulo, Molly Brown, Billy Burke, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Written and directed by Matthew John Lawrence.
Yeah, Jeffrey Dean Morgan is in the beginning of the film and then doesn't again. But still, It's some cred for the beginning of your film. He's just always got that JDM energy.
Yeah.
Like every character he plays, there's just always something about him that is just iconic. Like he is an icon all in his own, and I love him for it. But this movie's kind of fun. It's got some cool kills. It's definitely low budget. The film is done by Matthew John Lawrence, as you said. This is a second film after a film called Uncle Peckerhead, which is also on Shudder as well, which is basically a heavy metal zombie Satanist horror flick. And it's kind of fun. Honestly, I think Uncle Peckerhead is a better film than Bloody Axe Wound, mostly because of performances. But there's something about Bloody Axe Wound that is quite endearing, and its love for horror I really liked, especially the one character, Glenn. A couple of his disguises are so like movie rooted. Like one of them is Crazy Ralph from the Friday the 13th movies. I thought that was pretty funny. One of them straight up is Ducky from Pretty in Pink, who John Cryer plays in that film. And I was like, that one's kind of goofy, but the pacing is all right. The comedy is there enough to keep you into it. It's kind of like a Clown in a Cornfield, maybe. Clown in a Cornfield that's got a noticeable amount more money, but still not as much money as like a Scream would. But if you're searching for something on Shudder and you just want a quick horror hybrid, Bloody Axe Wound would kind of work for you. Two of the cast members in this one are on a show, I don't know if it's still on anymore, called AP Bio. It has Glenn Howerton from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and Patton Oswalt. I feel in a world where Abbott Elementary exists and that Community has come and went, that the school market is kind of owned by that one. It was a fun find, and it's quick. It's like an hour and 26 minutes long. Like it's a super, super quick film. So I enjoyed it for the most part. Got a couple of television shows to bring. Let's start it all off with the sex lives of college girls.
4 18-year-old freshman roommates at Essex College in Vermont. A bundle of contradictions and hormones, these sexually active college girls are equal parts lovable and infuriating. Starring Pauline Chalamet, Amrit Kaur, Renee Rapp, Aaliyah Chanel Scott, Gavin Leatherwood, Christopher Meyer, Ilya Isorilis Paulino, Renica Williams, Lauren Lolo Spencer, Midori Francis, Mekhi Leeper, Mitchell Slaggert, Mia Rogers, and Gracie Lawrence. Created by Mindy Kaling and Justin Noble. Available on Crave. The Mindy Kaling, I don't know, that makes me a little worried.
Well, I think the biggest worry is just when it comes to Velma. I feel like that one had
That severely tainted her, like...
Have you watched the show?
I watched, like, I think an episode.
People came with knives for that one. Honestly, I think it was more because it's a known IP and she was coming in to do her own thing. But like her track record up to that was not bad. Mindy Project was a show that was on for like 6 seasons and was really well received. Never Have I Ever, a show that she wrote kind of loosely based on her own life for Netflix, was a great series. I watched that show from beginning to end and I thought it was really, really well done. I really enjoyed it. And this show, I mean, it got canceled after 3 seasons, but the first season had some critical acclaim behind it. And I kind of like the young cast of this one. Gracie Lawrence is the daughter of Ted Lasso creator Bill Lawrence and Krista Miller. And when I look at her, like looks exactly like both of her parents. And Pauline Chalamet is, yes, the sister of Timothy Chalamet. And
yeah, that's what I figured.
She's really funny and really awkward in it. There's some great character work. Mindy Kaling is pretty solid at writing teen girls, as it turns out. She knows how to speak for them, it looks like, and it's pretty solid. Like, I'm just starting out in it, and I don't know, it's an HBO fringe series that I never really picked up on. Just wanted to give an outside shot. A couple of the episodes were directed by Zoe R. Cassavetes, who's the daughter of the legendary director John Cassavetes. So Nick is her brother, who did Notebook, among other better films, in my opinion. David Gordon Green also did some of the episodes of this one, and Gail Mancuso, who's known for, I mean, you know, Friends. So that's the big chip on her shoulder. It was shot by David J. Miller, who did Beavis and Butthead Do America, which is a film I saw in theaters because I was really into Beavis and Butthead at the time because, you know, they were popular. But also the shows Veep, The Good Place, The Newsroom, and one very relevant to you right now, Desperate Housewives. Did some of those episodes. Some of the episodes were also done by JP Wakayama, who did a indie horror film, a gory indie horror film called Porno a few years ago, which is about an old porno theater that these college students open up. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous movie, but I kind of enjoyed it in the end. Now, also the series Love Victor, a spin-off or a remake of the movie Love Simon with Nick Robinson, which is a movie I really liked, but I never actually checked out the series. Also, Chuck Ozeas shot some of these ones. He's an Arrested Development guy. The first 3 seasons of it is probably one of the greatest comedy shows of all time. I also shot the music video for Nine Inch Nails' Into the Void from The Fragile, which is
Interesting.
a really great song. And Rick Page also shot episodes of this. He's done a bunch of the episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is also one of the greatest comedy television shows of all time. The score was done by Joseph Stevens, who did the score for Observe and Report, which is the really mean and fucked up Paul Blart that came out that year. It's the Seth Rogen and Michael Pena mall cop movie. This like mall cop meets Taxi Driver. It's messed up, but really good. Totally underrated. But by extension, he also did all of Danny McBride's shows. He did Gemstones, he did Vice Principals, and he did Eastbound and Down, which are all phenomenal shows if you've never seen them. And they're all available now on Crave. He also did Upload with Robbie Amell for Prime Video and Never Have I Ever. So he's already worked with Mindy Kaling. I'm just starting out in it, so I will bring my thoughts once I've brought it to a close because it does have a finite end at 3 seasons. But yeah, like I said, I think she gets a bad rap mostly, if not all, for Velma because she's been successful beyond that. Another one, a canceled one. It'll be a quick one. I'll probably be bringing this one back to the show real quick, but it's based on a series that I've been obsessed with since it came to the PlayStation in the 90s. This is Resident Evil.
Nearly 3 decades after the discovery of the T-virus, an outbreak reveals the Umbrella Corporation's dark secrets. Again. Starring Ella Balinska, Tamara Smart, Sienna Agudong, Adeline Rudolph, Paula Nunez, Lance Reddick, and Ahad Razamir. Created by Andrew Dabb, based on the Resident Evil by Capcom. Available on Netflix.
Canceled after 1 year. Canceled a month after it was released, actually. Yeah. So they quickly put the foot down on this one. This is the final television series that Lance Reddick did before he passed away. Rest in peace, Lance Reddick, who was honestly, besides being called Resident Evil, that he was the reason I watched this.
Yeah, he was good in this.
There's a reveal on his character. I think it was in the last 3 episodes that I thought was so interesting. But this isn't the Resident Evil that you think it's going to be, like, pretty quickly. It is techno horror, very to its core. But this is also a Resident Evil that's set 30 years after Raccoon City. Is set a good amount of time after the events of Raccoon City. And there's many mentions that Raccoon City was essentially eradicated. So you have to basically think that the nuke went off. You know, the events of that have already transpired. And aside from you having your zombies, you get your dogs. There's a tease of liquors in this one. You know, certain of the villains, but it's not super well written. Like, honestly, you're watching it for the kitsch value of it.
Like, I watched this series when it was released.
Mm-hmm.
And I only really got into Resident Evil after Resident Evil Biohazard came out. I wasn't really into it before, and I definitely wasn't into the Mila Jovovich movies. Mm-hmm. They just weren't my vibe, but this one definitely was, even though it was poorly done. I was way more invested in this one than I was of the previous films.
There's a character in this show that I felt one of my friends that could have played. I feel like my friend Tyler could have played one character. You think he's going to be the villain for the whole show, and then he joins forces with the main character and then dies in the future part. But
I think I might have said that to Julius when we were watching it.
even like line delivery and everything, I was like, holy crap. My God, this is so uncanny. But some of the episodes were done by Bronwyn Hughes, who did a Thomas Jane film called Stander, the mid 2000s, which is like a South African bank robber movie that was really, really well done. But she also did Forces of Nature with Ben Affleck and Sandra Bullock. And Harriet the Spy in the 90s.
This is unrelated, but I refer to Thomas Jane as an Aaron Eckhart clone.
I knew Thomas Jane before I knew Aaron Eckhart.
I know that Thomas Jane is higher on the list than Aaron Eckhart.
Which is crazy because Aaron Eckhart was Harvey Dent.
He was Harvey Dent. He was in The
Dark
Mist.
Knight. Yeah. No, Thomas Jane was in The Mist.
Thomas Jane is in The Mist? I thought this entire time it was Aaron Eckhart.
No, it's Thomas Jane.
Since 2007, I thought that it was Aaron Eckhart.
Nope, it's Thomas Jane.
This is what I mean.
There we go.
They're the same guy.
Yeah. That's crazy. It's a crazy revelation. But Bronwyn Hughes also did episodes, of your favorite shows like Breaking Bad, but also Hung with Thomas Jane and Burn Notice with Bruce Campbell and Jeffrey Donovan. What a great show that was. My wife calls that show Squishy Face because of Jeffrey Donovan's face. Squishy Face. The show was also shot by Carmen Cabana, which is not only just a great name, but she also did Miss Marvel, the series for High Fidelity with Zoe Kravitz, and episodes of Narcos, which is a big running show for Netflix. But yeah, a lot of women power in the behind the scenes of the Resident Evil series. But too bad, yeah, it was canceled a month in. But I don't know. I'm going to wrap it up. When I have my thoughts on it, I'll bring it back to the show and talk spoiler and all. But I have one quick thing I added to my library this week. That's right. This week, I got an upgrade to, I think, a really, really underrated Steven Soderbergh film. It's a film that reunited him with Matt Damon. It's called The Informant, with an exclamation point on the end. The Informant. This is just a great bumbling film. This is basically just about kind of faking your way into things. And it feels like Soderbergh doing like a Coen Brothers film. That's kind of what I equate this film to. And honestly, I think it's one of the best performances that Matt Damon has given in his career. And I absolutely love him in this movie. It was like a no-brainer to pick this as one of my choices from Allied Vaughn, because I was like, yeah, I definitely want the 4K of that one. And it's Soderbergh. Ever since the film festival and watching Presents, every time I watch a Soderbergh movie, I've been really enjoying it again. Black Bag is really great, and I'll talk about that in a second. Really pumped to add that one to my collection. So let's polish off a couple series that I finished. So right now that it's over and I have heavy IP stuff this time around, but it's stuff that has been over for a bit now. This one more recently than the second one, but I hope a lot of people will watch this one because it's really got a lot of heart to it. This is Star Wars Skeleton Crew.
4 kids make a mysterious discovery on their home planet that leads them to get lost in a strange and dangerous galaxy. Starring Jude Law, Ravi Cabot Conyers, Ryan Kiera Armstrong, Kiriana Crater, Robert Timothy Smith, and Nick Frost. Created by John Watts and Christopher Ford, based on Star Wars by George Lucas. Available on Disney+.
Who wasn't included in that cast list? Carrie Condon, who's an actress I've loved for a long time, and I feel like got some love when Banshees of Inisherin came out, which is such a beautiful little dark soul of a film. But also Tunde Adebimpe is in this one, who is also in Twisters. He's kind of the brains, the tech of the crew, the black guy with the glasses and stuff. He's also the lead singer and writer for a band called TV on the Radio, who I absolutely love TV on the Radio and have for a long time. But this is Goonies in the Star Wars universe. This is Lost in Space with kids. And it could be obnoxious if you don't have the right kids, but you have all the right cast in place for this one. You've also created a great archetype with all four of them that is almost feels into that Amblin Entertainment, that Goonies type of template that feels familiar, but at the same time telling a new story. And then Jude Law coming in as an unpredictable scoundrel. You don't know if he's there to help the kids for a bit or to be, a thief and a scoundrel. And he's really, really solid in this. He's an actor that feels like he belongs in the Star Wars universe, just how he carries himself. And I was really excited about him being in this when I started it, and I was not unsatisfied by it. I think he's really, really great in it. There's some really interesting tie-in stuff between some of the pirate characters in this and in Mandalorian. And I want to say Bad Batch as well. I might be confused on that one. The show's really great, and it's got a really great group of directors to bring it to the screen that all made it so much fun. John Watts himself, he's known for, the Spider-Man movies. He did Cop Car as well, which is a really great movie. David Lowery, every time his name comes up, I'll mention the fact that he did The Green Knight, which is like one of my favorite films ever. Daniels, who did Everything Everywhere All at Once, as well as Swiss Army Men, which is just a wild film if you've never seen it. It's Paul Dano using Daniel Radcliffe's dead body to survive on an island. That's the only way I can describe it. It is amazing. It is fucking amazing. Bryce Dallas Howard does some of the episodes. Of course, she's done some Mandalorian episodes, so she's already experienced within the Star Wars universe. Lee Isaac Chung, speaking of Twisters, he was the director of that, as well as Minari. And Jake Schreier, who is currently in theaters now, experiencing the #1 box office film for the last 3 weeks, Thunderbolts, or 2 weeks now. All really great directors, kind of in really great places in their career. Cinematography wise, it was shot by Sean Porter, who did Kumiko the Treasure Hunter for the Zellner brothers. A really, really great film with Rinko Kikuchi. Did a film called Green Room with Anton Yelchin, which is... And the look of that film is such a big part of it too. So Sean Porter, infinite cred with that one.
And also Patrick Stewart as a Nazi.
I mean, as just chilling. An absolute chilling performance. And he also did a film called 20th Century Women, which was one of my favorite films that year, with Annette Bening and Greta Gerwig, and as done by Mike Mills. And it's just such a phenomenal piece of work. Also, the series The Old Man with Jeff Bridges, which is a damn good show. It's also shot by David Klein, who has already done stuff in the Star Wars universe because he did episodes of Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, but as well as the shows Homeland, True Blood, and the Deadwood movie, which is something I brought up not too long ago. But beyond that, he's a Kevin Smith guy. He did Cop Out. He did Zack and Mary Make a Porno. He did Red State. I have my love for Kevin Smith stuff. I mean, I'm wearing a Mubi shirt right now. So just to show the love. A well-worn Mubi shirt that might have, is discolored and it's been around for a while. It's been through the wars, but I still give it some love. Also, the score was done by Mick Giacchino, who did The Penguin recently, which is the best show of last year. I'm still saying that. The Muppets Mayhem, which was like a Muppet series that followed Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem instead of all the Muppets. And That Dirty Black Bag, which was a Western with Dominic Cooper that he did after Preacher. Solid series. But Skeleton Crew's great. If people haven't given a chance because they don't like the Disney Star Wars or anything or feel jaded about it, I just say just give it a chance. Give it the first 2 episodes because I contest that this show is a lot of fun. All right, moving on. Let's move to the DC universe, the DC television universe. And this one was kind of tied into it, but it's a one that was just really weird. And I'm so surprised it made it 5 seasons like it did. This is Doom Patrol.
The adventures of an idealistic mad scientist and his field team of superpowered outcasts. Starring Diane Guerrero, April Bowlby, Alan Tudyk, Matt Bomer, Brendan Fraser, Timothy Dalton, Joyvan Wade, Sky Roberts, Riley Shanahan, Matthew Zuck, Michelle Gomez, and Pisay Pau. Created by Jeremy Carver, based on Doom Patrol by Arnold Drake, Bob Haney, and Bruno Premiani. Available on Crave and Blu-ray.
Probably has my favorite theme song in the last 10 years. It's one that gets stuck in my head, and it's done by a legendary composer, Clint Mansell, who is responsible for the scores for Requiem for a Dream, The Fountain, so many great soundtracks. And I'll bring it up as well. Kevin Kiner also does the music for this one. He did Creature Commandos, which I really like that shit series, Star Wars The Bad Batch, and Ahsoka. And for old school sake, he did The Pest with John Leguizamo, classic comedy from the 90s. Freaked, which is like a freak show comedy movie that Alex Winter, Bill from Bill and Ted, did roughly around the time of Bill and Ted. And it's got Mr. T as the bearded woman in it. It's great. And Randy Quaid's the villain. And he also did the music for Leprechaun with Warwick Davis. You know the Leprechaun movies, right?
Yes.
Did the first one.
Yes. Leprechaun, I think, in the Hood was Jennifer Aniston's first movie.
No, Leprechaun #1 was Jennifer Aniston's first movie.
Okay. I thought it was in the Hood.
No,
I knew it was one of the Leprechaun movies.
No, it was the very first one. It would be funnier if it was in the Hood, but no.
It would be.
It was
I wish it was.
One. Yeah. Now you regret knowing that information. But I think it's a show that could honestly be watched on its own. Like, it's not honestly connected to any other shows. This is basically an old decrepit mansion full of outcasts. Brendan Fraser is Robot Man, and he's basically a brain in a big rusty robot body. And with the foulest mouth that you've ever heard. Like, he says fuck so much per episode. It's crazy. And
I don't think I've seen Brendan Fraser in like a raunchy, like foul mouth thing since Monkey Bone.
Yeah. Well, it's mostly his voice, but when they go, because his name's Cliff Steele, he was a race car driver. So there are flashback things, and it's like him with a mullet. It's pretty glorious. So there are moments where you do see Brendan Fraser, but he's so great in this. This was also like a part of the Brendan Fraser renaissance that came in the last bit with him winning Academy Award for The Whale, being a Scorsese movie with Killers of the Flower Moon. But the cast around him is really great too. Matt Bomer plays Larry. He's Negative Man. He kind of looks like a mummy, or like the Invisible Man. How the Invisible Man was all wrapped up. That's kind of what he looks like. And of course, he's dependable and solid. He's always been good and stuff. Timothy Dalton is a legend. I mean, he's a former Bond, and he's Miles Calder. He's the guy that kind of brings everybody together. But the show goes into weird, just completely unexpected areas, and things that you don't think are going to become threads in the show. I'll just say that there's something called a zombie werebutt. And yes, they are basically a butt on legs that have teeth.
Amazing. I think I sourced a still for the last time you talked about this.
Yeah.
It's in my computer.
The zombie werebutt?
Hard drive.
A zombie werebutt.
Yeah.
Is hidden there. Yeah, like that's a subplot that becomes like a major plot point. It becomes a cause of the apocalypse. This show is wild. I can't even begin to explain the areas in which they go, which kind of makes it like that I'm not going to get into a full spoiler territory with this segment, but that's a good thing because there's so much that there might even be stuff that I'm forgetting that's I wanted to bring up, you know, but I will say that the script for this show is insane and so well done and so well tailored to the entire cast with people like Danielle Guerrero and April Bowlby. I didn't really know them before the show and I know them now and I really enjoyed them. Some of the episodes were done by Rachel Talalay, who does a lot of television, so it's not really a big deal, but I love to bring it up when she's involved in something because she did Freddy's Dead, which is like a weird midpoint of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. And she also did the ultra feminist and queer coded Tank Girl, which came out in like 1995, which is just a damn cool movie. I really love that movie. But Jeremy Carver, who developed the show, he did the US version of a show I really enjoyed from BBC called Being Human, which was like a werewolf, a vampire, and a ghost that all lived together. And it was a really great series in the UK with Aidan Turner and Russell Covey. Then they made it in the States for sci-fi, and it had two Sams. It had Sam Huntington and Sam Witwer were the mains in that one. So I enjoyed both, if I'm being honest. Episodes were shot by Magdalena Gorka, who is the cinematographer of Paranormal Activity 3, which is Heather's backstory, the 1988 set one.
I actually enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
That one wasn't too bad.
And the Joaquin Phoenix documentary, I'm Still Here, where everyone thought Joaquin lost his mind.
And he was going to be a rapper?
Yeah. She shot that movie. So that's kind of cool. Also, fun fact, in the DC realm, now that it's all kind of going to get obliterated by the James Gunn DC universe, so none of this will be canon anymore. But Matt Bomer and Alan Tudyk have both voiced Superman at one point in their career. Brendan Fraser almost played him in the early 2000s because Brett Ratner was going to do a Superman movie. The working title for it was Superman Flyby, which is a really bad title.
Superman Drive-By.
Drive-by. You don't need a gun, Superman. I know I'm doing this for fun.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Superman joins the Crips.
Right? Sea-walking Superman. Damn. But yeah, that is pretty much almost it. I have a few reminders, though. That's right. This week's reminders, a few that were just in theaters recently. Starting off with this one, Captain America Brave New World. I feel like I just watched this movie in theaters. And after watching Thunderbolts, it makes Cap feel that much more middling. But I don't know. I gave my full review for this one on the February 21st episode, so you can go back and watch it there. Also this week on Blu-ray and 4K, just like Captain America is on 4K as well, Mickey 17, Bong Joon-ho's latest film. This movie is Bong doing Snowpiercer meets Coen Brothers, and I really, really loved every second of it. Released it on the March 14th episode. I don't know if you've gotten around to this one yet.
Not yet.
It's a must-see, I think. Also, the survival thriller Last Breath is on Blu-ray with Simu Liu and Woody Harrelson. A film that really works with the underwater peril. I felt in awe of what they were pulling off. But I also reviewed that on the March 14th episode, so you can watch that one there while you're checking out the Mickey 17 one. And also Better Man is now on 4K. It's on a special edition 4K from Paramount. This is the Robbie Williams biopic in which he's a monkey. And I said it many, many times. This is must-see film. This is cinema. This movie is fucking cinema. It is so well executed and such a well done biopic. And a slew of biopics that never seem to work. There's not a moment that goes by in this film where it doesn't work. And that includes him being a monkey. It's really, 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 really great. I did my full review for that one on the February 7th episode. Finally, I alluded to this one earlier, Black Bag, Steven Soderbergh's latest film, a quick turnaround after Presents. I feel like Presents had just come out finally, and then Black Bag was in theaters. I reviewed it on the March 21st episode, a very adult and very slick and talkative spy film. Expect a very adult thriller. I don't know how else to explain it than that. This isn't your bombs going off and bullets flying movie. It never is, and it never intends to be. So, all right. So we're almost ready to get out of here. There's a but.
Okay. So yeah, I checked out Sharp Corner. I don't know. This film, like, I did enjoy this film, but maybe not for the same reasons that you or most people would. This movie frustrated the hell out of me. Like, it's angering the way that the two main characters, like the husband and wife, communicate with each other.
Mm-hmm. I felt that frustration too.
Yeah.
I definitely felt it's like a complete blind disconnect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is spoiler territory or not, because we know that it takes a heavy toll on their marriage. But, like, I just feel like the divorce comes out of fucking nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, you have too much empathy. I'm leaving. And I'm taking our kid with me. Like, huh?
It feels brutal because it's like you get 2 hours supervised visitation a week. Like,
I
what
think it's every 2 weeks. It's like,
oh yeah, every 2 weeks. It's like, what exactly did he did to warrant that harsh of a, like, he didn't crash people in his yard.
yeah, and like at first she didn't even care. Like, she was mad at him for caring about the car crashes.
Yeah. She was hyper focused on the kid.
Yeah.
That's how I
Well,
see it.
not hyper focused enough to realize that that kid is autistic as hell.
Yeah, no doubt, eh?
Yeah, like 5 minutes in, I was like, that kid is super autistic. And nobody seems to notice or care or acknowledge it at all. Like, he's counting every 2 minutes. But yeah, just overall frustrating, but a good character study, I'd say,
And
more than...
how soft spoken he is, and how like kind of meek he is in this is really interesting.
Yeah, that
Especially
also
for,
frustrated me, though.
yeah.
Basically, everything about every character frustrated me. I didn't like any of the characters as people, and I didn't like seeing them interact with each other. But I did like the concept of the movie, and I did like how things didn't fit together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's fair. Cool. Yeah, well, it's good to get your thoughts. All right, well, let's head into what we're going to talk about next week. So, more franchise IP, but this is horror IP. This is a rebooting slash telling the origins of. That's kind of what I'm getting from this trailer for the film. This is Final Destination's Bloodlines. I'm excited for this one just because the other films are so ridiculous sometimes, and you just kind of want to see the Rune Goldberg trail of how death kills somebody. And I'm already seeing that someone gets hit by a truck. There's a gnarly piercing kill that looks like a lot of fun. It's going to be more horror next week. Also, because I'm going to bring Finn Wolfhard's directorial debut, Hell of a Summer, to the podcast. And hopefully I can cram in the comedy drama, The Ballad of Wallace Island, and get some feel-good stuff in with that horror so I can balance it out a little bit. That's all we have for this week. You can find me on Twitter, Letterboxd, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at The Steeple Dead.
You can find me on Letterboxd at HoneyBunChloe.
You can find all the episodes of this show on stevestebbing.ca or search up the YouTube page. Just look up Steve Stebbing or The Steeple Dead, and we're on shiftheads.ca. You can also hear me every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Shane Hewitt and the Night Shift, found on Toronto's News Talk 1010 on the iHeartRadio network. Well, we've emptied out our list for this week, so until next week, bye-bye.